Hello and welcome to the 22nd episode of the Gochuucast, and today we have a very special guest. His name is Warii. I found him on the street. It's no specific purpose. We brought someone on because we can. And today,
sometimes you got to do charity in this business.
You get charity.
Yeah. But today is the long sought romance episode in which I don't even know how many romances between all of us. I'm definitely
surely
but
at least 75. Use like broad definitions, we have like
of course
hundreds.
Yes, because like I guess actually hold on, we're going out of order. Just go, why are you introduce yourself?
Yes.
Me introduce myself?
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah, like you said, you found me on the street. I was just kind of wandering around aimlessly, and then you kind of came up to me and asked if I wanted to be on a podcast. I had nothing else to do, so here I am. I do like a decent amount of romance animes. For a while, I had a whole ass phase of just anything I watched. It had to have some romance in it. If it didn't have like the tiniest bit of romance in it, I was not watching it. I was fiending for that shit. Not so much anymore, but for a while, all I wanted was just like romance anime. That it was just like there's something about romance anime. It just like strikes a specific nerve, like more so than like romance in like other medias. Like watching like romance in like just a normal like live action movie, it just doesn't hit the same. At least for me. I don't know about you guys.
It's that 2D, bro.
Yeah, it's
almost funny because as anime fans, we are always complaining about lack of romantic progression, but then in like live action and Western shows, you get to like episode 3 and they're just fucking. And it's like the polar opposite, and it's still like not satisfying.
Yeah, it just doesn't hit the same. Like, yeah, it's the thing is like it's satisfying. Like romance animes are like just the most satisfying.
Depends on the romance.
Maybe it's lack of progression.
It depends on the progression too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it depends. Some suck.
I hate stuff like for if it goes on for really long, obviously, but I hate things that are quote romance anime, but then I'll read 400 chapters, and if anything, the characters are like less romantically involved with each other than how they started. And there's not many things that are quite that bad, but there are a lot of things like all of the over the last few years flavor of the season rom-coms that come out, like the Ayumus and Takagis, the Uzakis, and all those. I haven't watched any of those 3, so if there is progression, don't blame me. But like all of those in my head pop up as things where it's like, yeah, there's like a romantic thing going on, but it's also like not a progressional thing. It's just like, yeah, here's a boy, here's a girl. Yeah.
Takagi is like slightly different because of the spin-off manga, but the actual manga still hasn't fucking ended for some reason. But I guess because it has 3 seasons in a movie, so it makes money, I suppose. But
yeah, exactly.
And then Ayumi is like super slow burn, and the chapters are really short too, so it's like hard to progress too hard.
I guess why like Tonikawa was something that like me and a lot of our friends really liked outright, because it was just like, oh yeah, let's just do the romance thing. But then also, yeah, there's like have your cake and eat it too, because they were like, oh yeah, let's just like speed run the romance stuff, but then also they are like not really like romantic like that either.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's why I think it's similar to other ones, because it's like, okay, sure, they like quote unquote shove it in early, but it's like they still have that same.
And then they're still awkward
timeline that other animes would have. So
yeah, it's like the shtick that they're doing things kind of backwards, like start with marriage and then move on to handhold it afterward.
Ooh,
I gotta say with Tonikawa, my favorite episode in the anime was by far the first episode.
Yeah, first episode.
I thought the first
really
episode
good
slapped. I thought it was hilarious, like at how like over the top and like self-aware it was. The rest of the episodes were still like cute.
They were good. I was like glad I watched it, but
yeah, it was enjoyable.
I will say it's
it did enough to keep me watching, which people who know me know that I don't keep watching shows very often, so
Yeah, he has like 20 different shows on his like
I do a
pause or
lot
some
of
shit.
3 episodes and then say I'll get to it eventually,
Just
and then
like
I
me.
never get to it.
Yeah. I started Tony Kaku with the manga. It's probably one of my favorites, honestly. Probably because I've been with it for so long, since like near the start at least. I would say it's one of those anime where it's like definitely an easier read than watch to go through like weekly, basically. And obviously there's detail lost from adaptation, but I enjoyed the anime for what it was. I thought I'm glad it's getting to season 2 as well, whenever that happens.
Manga, but yeah.
Is it confirmed?
Yeah, season 2 is confirmed,
Okay.
and then there's an OVA this season in I think it's this month actually.
I'll definitely
it's, like, really
check
soon.
it out. I'm interested enough in it still to like watch it,
Yeah, I think
but I'm not head over heels.
the most like interesting content probably comes from what would be like season 3, I believe. But yeah, it would be season 3, I'm pretty sure, depending on how fast they go. But yeah, I guess one thing that I've always like touched on in like other episodes but never went into depth about it is like the harem genre and how that works with the romance, I guess.
Oh God, don't
Yeah,
start
PK
predicting who's the last one and all that
PK
stuff.
likes his sports anime, and in terms of sports anime, I think harem are their own sport.
Harem are kind of like the sports anime of
over
romance.
You
Yeah.
watch it like The Bachelor.
Yeah, I pick my team. I pick my. I
Who's getting the rose tonight?
let him introduce everyone, pick the team, and then get really mad when my team doesn't win, and the first girl wins. It's always the first girl. I swear to God.
It is always the first girl. That's the worst part.
I did actually try and because we talked about it, like calculate my win percentage on these things, but like as I was going through, there were so many like technicalities that I'm like, do I even bother to keep going through this? Because like. We Never Learn has like the all routes end in, so technically I did win. But at
So,
the
yeah,
exact same time,
everyone
everyone wins, which is boring.
Okay, who is your favorite in We Never Learn though?
Be
Is it
Fumi.
Fumino?
Yeah,
That's
Fumino.
fair. I respect that.
And then probably Senpai's second. I didn't
Yeah.
care for.
I have the same top 2, but swapped.
Typically, I like the childhood friend characters, but I did not care for the childhood friend in that one. And I definitely
They were
didn't care
just
for
kind
the
of
short-haired
meh.
glasses girl.
That's pretty much the opinion everyone has. I
I'm
would
not a
say.
friend of the childhood character trope in general.
I am a sucker for the childhood friend.
I'm also
True,
a sucker
but I
for it,
also
but it
think-
always leads to pain.
I also think
It-
that's because like sports anime, a lot of times the romantic interest will be like childhood friend or something like that, and so it's like other non-romancy genres I watch have like good characters who are in that role. So it's just like that's something that I'm used to and like.
I know it sounds really stupid, but I find like I know it's like stupid to say this about anime. I mean, but like I find the childhood friend thing like very unrealistic. It just sounds. I know it
It's-
sounds really stupid, but like, I just feel like it just doesn't happen enough for in real life to like make me
For
not believe
everyone,
it, but like
yeah.
it's just it's
It's-
weird. It's like an anime only thing almost.
No,
kind of.
it's-
it's a very big.
It's
trope.
actually like a real life thing. It's just not a
Oh
part
no,
of
I'm sure it happens, but like
No, like more common than you'd think, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just
I
not.
personally
Think
can't
so?
relate.
It's just not common in our culture. It's like Japanese.
maybe
thing.
yeah. The most I can think of is like a high school sweetheart or something like that, right? Something equivalent to that. But yeah, childhood friend. Okay, maybe it's more common there, so that's probably why. So
Yeah, from what
I
I've
think,
heard, it's actually like generally like an actual thing. Like you wouldn't think it is. I guess I understand that much, but I guess communities are probably like more close knit there than they are in like
yeah, it could be that.
yeah. Because everything is like a lot
Fair
like
enough.
more packed in Japan, I guess, and so you're more likely to know your neighbors, maybe something like that. Because I mean, I feel like neighbor culture in like the U.S. especially, I don't know who the fuck my neighbors are, dude. I can't rely on them for anything if I needed neighbors for something.
That could be it. Yeah, I don't know, but it is a common trope, regardless of whether it's rooted into culture. So I guess like for me, perspective of like a dumb American who doesn't like study the culture. I don't know. It's just a little bit different. Not that it's bad. I think it can be done well. So
Yeah, except for when an example of not being done well is the childhood friend anime where it's like every girl is a childhood friend.
Every girl's childhood friend.
That was a pain. So it's so bad, dude. It's really trashy and it's entertaining, but it's so fucking
It sucks
bad.
because it sounds funny.
It
Like the title reels me in, and I'm like, I'm interested.
They did reel
The
me
title
in.
alone, yeah,
I'm
would
like-
make me want to watch
I'm
it.
like, finally, the childhood friend's going to win. I watch it, and then I find all of them are childhood friends, and suddenly I'm like infinitely less invested. And all the characters are
So you know
assholes
you've
too,
been got.
except for there's like the main guy is just like manipulated by so many different people. It's awful. I don't know. And it might be like a better novel. I've heard the novel's a lot better than the anime adaptation, but I feel like that's just the thing for literally every light novel adaptation, basically. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think like for harems especially, I guess like the part that like happens a lot is just like, I mean, I guess we can talk about that, like, right, the tropes that often happen with harems, like number one, the childhood friend, number two, the person in class, number three, the tsundere, and number, all those things. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think that's like, are you okay with it, or do you think it like goes over the top sometimes?
I mean, it depends, I guess.
To me, all those like overused tropes, it's something that like I'm not gonna condemn a show for using it, but I will praise a show that goes and does
against
something
it.
unique.
Yeah.
True.
So if they bring in a character that is actually unique and it's not super tropey, it's not a childhood friend or the tomboy or the class president, it's like actually something unique, I will really, really praise that. I always really, really like when any sort of medium, not even just anime, but like anything does something like unique and special that like kind of breaks the mold. But at the same time, if something is generic, if something is generic, I'm still not gonna like condemn it for like using those tropes, unless it's just like the most generic thing in the world and there's just like nothing that like sets it apart from anything else. Then yeah, I'm gonna not be that big of a fan.
I can't think of like too many harem anime that I would like rate highly. Like I liked, I think Quintuplets is like probably one of the better harem animes out there. I guess because partially it focuses on romance, of course, but then focuses on obviously the relationship problems that would come like among the sisters and stuff. I haven't seen the movie because of course that's only in Japan right now, but I did read the manga, so and we've talked about it before. I don't remember which fucking episode, but. And then
Pretty sure we heavily censored it too.
yeah, because we spoiled the winner like 20 times, and so I had to. But
I have not watched any of it, so
yeah, I would say
I appreciate that.
when the movie comes out, it might be like a worthy binge, I guess. It's definitely one of those things. It was like very team oriented. Like I would say, like for the most part, all the girls had like a pretty. They're also like the more top heavy ones, but all of them were like pretty evenly split fan base wise.
Honestly, that's like a sign of pretty good writing.
Yeah, I think as well. Like at the start, it was like kind of goofy little romance, but I think season 2 was actually like really good. And in the movie, people have their opinions on it. I think it's like really lowly rated because all the people who didn't win are med.
Yeah,
That makes a lot
which
of
is
sense.
kind of how like a lot of
Always
those go.
happens.
Always.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I wouldn't call like Orig is obviously not a harem. I think we definitely spoiled the ending for that. I don't think Warriors finished it, so don't do it this time. But
Yeah,
I have
we've
watched.
almost certainly spoiled the Origairu outright and uncensored on at least one episode.
Yeah, I've watched the first season, and I got a couple episodes into the second season, and then I stopped for whatever reason, because life. And
I feel that. That's my spirit.
Yeah, no, I'm like so much
Warii and I
busier
are the
now
same
than
person.
where. Yeah, I'm so much busier now than where I was like a year ago. Like I didn't even watch any animes from last season.
yeah,
Like,
I mean,
I just
there's some good ones last
didn't
season.
have the time.
I think Origairu is nice though because Origairu has the characters to be a harem.
I don't know
But
if
it also
I'd call it. It's like
No.
really awkward
So,
to classify,
yeah.
I guess. Because obviously
Well-
the main thing is between Yui and Yukino, but then like Iroha is like hinted or whatever. And so
Yes.
there's
Does
So-
she show
There are
up
a
in
lot of
season
shows
two?
like that.
yeah,
So this
Iroha
is-
is season 2 character. Yeah.
I don't know who that
Yeah,
is yet.
So that's what I'm saying, Daniel. It has the characters that it could be a harem, but it doesn't like choose to pursue being a harem. It just also has 3 or 4 other like pretty quality and decently developed girls that are not necessarily part of the main romance plot lines.
Yeah, I think it like takes its time to like develop itself as a story, because like season 1's like the comedy or whatever, and then I watched a video. It's like on the contrast and like the art style stuff. Like season 1 to season 2 is like such a drastic change.
Because when I started season 2, I was like, bro, what am I watching?
Yeah,
This is not the same show.
and it works.
In a good way.
Yeah, I watched a video on it, and like the comedic aspects of season 1 were definitely like more like had more emphasis on them because of the art style in season 1, but now season 2 is more like the drama side of things, and so the art style change definitely helps, because I feel like it would definitely be harder to take a drama side of things more seriously with the season 1 art style, which is like a little slapstick, I guess is the best way to put it. But Orig are definitely really good. Probably, I would say it's probably, I guess, and I wouldn't like completely classify it as a romantic comedy. I would say Kaguya is probably my favorite romantic comedy, but then like Orig is definitely right there.
For me, it's Kaguya on top.
Yeah,
I think Kaguya just has all the things I want out of a rom-com.
Kaguya is like, to me at least, it's like the perfect example of like breaking the mold and doing its own thing, but also being really, really, really good at what it's trying to do. So it just checks all the boxes for me, personally at least.
I mean, some of like the random episodes and chapters of Kaguya will just like do things, and then the next thing you know, it just like goes back on what it did in like realistic ways. I think Daniel knows specifically one of the chapters I'm thinking of, but I don't want to say because it's only manga content.
Are all you guys caught up on the manga?
Spat, I don't think he's ever.
Spat is probably not.
No.
Spat does not like anime.
I feel like
comedy.
I would like this show. I feel like I need to watch it. I
I think Kaguya is something that's very easy for people to get, like most people to get into.
Yeah.
It's
not quite for everyone, but it's
but it's kind of getting to the point where it's like turning into a must-watch for like anyone getting into anime.
I heard like everybody loves like the announcer dude, the narrator.
The narrator
is like the best character or whatever.
Except we don't talk about like the dub version of things though. I don't.
I've seen videos of that.
Dude, the dub, it's so bad.
The dub for Kaguya is like its own abridged series. Like you can watch the whole thing, and then you can go watch it again in dub for a whole new experience.
Like I'll get recommended like the clips every now and then, and I'm like, it's funny to see as a clip, but I cannot imagine watching 12, 20-minute episodes of this shit.
Oh, that would make my fucking ears bleed. Especially the narrator and the dub.
Yeah, like I remember
it's like hard. Kaguya does a good job with it, but I think a lot of like the comedy aspects of rom-coms get lost in translation, and especially in dubs.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of things get lost in dubs. It's like it's really difficult because obviously there's like the discrepancy in voice acting talent, just because it's in Japan it's like the dream job, I guess, to be like a voice actor. But then in the US, for example, it's like all right,
job.
We'll give you $3 for dubbing this movie, maybe, and then that's it. Yeah, it's like a passion job more than anything, because you're not going to make jack shit off of it, and so it definitely leads to like less talent.
The top voice actors in Japan are like celebrities.
Yeah, it's like really,
I mean, some
really,
of them
really
are
big.
celebrities here. Like there are certain voice actors that like just normal Western audiences would just know off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm like I'm not like a dub hater, but yeah, I totally get like the difference in voice acting for sure.
I'm not gonna like hate people for watching it dub.
Yeah,
However,
no, I get it.
I will not bend the knee and say that like dub is. They're like very select dubs that I say are like. I think Dragon Ball has a better dub than sub for like what I want out of like something like Dragon Ball, just like monkey action. There's
OG Naruto.
I think shonens. Yeah, I think shonens have dubs that are at least enjoyable still, if not at a similar quality level.
I think a big part of that is because for any of those battle shonens that were going on in the 2000s, we watched them as kids on TV.
Yep. Yeah,
so
it's nostalgic.
When I started watching Naruto, that was like my actual first anime. When I decided to like get into anime, I was like, you know what? I watched Naruto here and there as a kid, and I thought it was pretty dope. So I got plenty of time, so I'm just gonna watch the whole show.
Yep.
And I started watching it in dub, and it instantly took me back to like.
I think
when I was a
Warii
kid.
and I are the same person.
And we
Yeah.
are.
Well,
The more
I already
watches
said you had the same
podcast-
voice, but nobody believes me.
yeah.
The more this podcast goes on, the more it's like we live the same life.
I need you to continue doing that and watch Clannad so you can live the exact same life.
Yeah.
Well, let's not get crazy.
8 flips, bro. 8 flips.
8 flips, yeah.
8 flips.
I will.
Okay, the thing about losing stuff in translation is
Yeah.
like, I feel like even when I watch sub, I'll like never laugh at anything. But I've said this before. It's like, I think, not that I don't like sub. Like I think the voice acting is very good. It's just like it's hard for me to like absorb jokes when I'm just reading it. So it's like it's very hard for me to laugh. So I don't know. The comedy aspect of like a rom-com is more in like the levity or like the like how it doesn't take itself super seriously rather than like actually laughing at the jokes.
I will
So
say.
I think that's like for me like the quote unquote comedy part. I
Yeah.
mean, if you think about like a traditional like definition of comedy, it like used to refer to like a play with a happy ending or whatever, like I don't know, whatever 500 years ago. So like
Yeah.
for me, that's like what a rom com like kind of
We're
is.
comparing rom-com to like a fucking Shakespeare.
Shakespeare, yeah.
Okay.
No, but like that's kind of my thing with like why I would prefer a rom com over like a romance drama is like usually just like it takes itself less seriously and there's like more slice of life elements and stuff like that. Like Toradora is like one of my I wouldn't rewatch that show, but I liked it when I watched it, and that was like a show
It's
that's like
enjoyable.
I didn't find it like quote unquote funny, but like I thought like it wasn't super serious until the close to the end or the second half or whatever. So that's like an example of like a rom com done well where it didn't need to laugh, but like it was still like entertaining in that sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't know. Like my entire time watching Toradora, and I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I watched it twice. I don't think I ever laughed watching it.
I definitely
once.
never left watching Toradora.
But it was like funny enough for me to like for my brain to go, oh haha, like in my head. But like
That's like
I wish I was me.
yeah.
I never laughed watching it, but it was enjoyable enough and like funny enough for me to like go like.
I
oh,
love
yeah,
a good
that's funny
pity
show.
haha in your brain where it's like, yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty good, but you didn't actually laugh. So it's like, how much did that?
Or like blow air out of your nose.
Yeah, well, not even.
I
I
was-
was faced watching the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'll say Kaguya definitely has like a different, especially the anime has a different like for like it's not all in like the subs or whatever. There's a lot of like visual comedy in Kaguya. A1 definitely does a good job
yeah.
with like the direction they put things.
Yeah, a
Um,
huge draw, at least for me, like watching the anime, is like all of the references they put in and how creative they get with like the directing and animation and stuff like that. That makes it like it really elevates it comedic.
Yeah, the direction of the anime is
comedic
definitely
ability.
like probably why it's so successful. Just how well it translates like it like really enhances what it tries to take from the manga. I think.
Mm-hmm.
But Spat talked about rom drums for like 0.2 seconds. I will say probably the best rom drum is I'd say is Clannad After Story easily.
Yeah, easily.
It's almost awkward to like classify as a romance because I feel like especially like Clannad doesn't like focus too heavily on it until it needs to.
Clannad focuses on a lot of things.
Yeah, because it's a visual novel adaptation, obviously. Until
Yeah.
like After Story is its own thing in the visual novel, and so it's easier to deal with. But then obviously you have to like fit all these characters who normally wouldn't even meet in like the visual novel into like one coherent story.
I mean, Kyoto Animation did a pretty good job at adapting.
I
it
would
and,
say
like,
it's
making
a
it
great
make sense.
adaptation for like
Yeah.
what it was, especially because
Like-
I played the visual novel a little bit, and so I'd run into like some events where it's like in the anime they like incorporate more characters into certain events that occur, and so it's weird. It was like really weird having like the whiplash of like watching the anime first, and I'm like, wait, where's everyone? Like, no one's becoming friends or anything. I'm like, it's just me and this other character basically. It's definitely
Also,
different.
I gotta
experience.
say, for like the year Clannad came out, I think it started like 2006 to 2007. I think After Story was like 2008 to 2009. I think it looks like gorgeous for when it came out.
Yeah, like especially like the
There's-
background
Yeah,
stuff. I
the
think is like the
background
best.
scenery and the lighting they do in some scenes, it looks like really good for coming out like 15
The eyes
years ago.
though, the eyes.
Yeah, the eyes.
I
No,
honestly
I-
don't have a problem with the eyes.
I don't have that much of a problem, especially because
It's
like
just
I said
iconic.
before, it was the norm back then. It's
Yeah, it was like
yeah,
every
I
anime
think
back
I've
then
seen-
had the eyes.
Yeah, I think I've seen some other like
and there's worse
clips
offenders.
and
out
shows
there.
that have similar art
There's
styles.
worse.
I guess it
There's
was just
definitely
popular
worse
back then.
offenders out there. Like yeah, it's something I don't really care about it at all because that was just the thing. I mean, we're gonna say the same thing in like 10 years from now, like looking back at stuff airing right now, and it's just like I can't believe this was like.
Yeah, you know what? That's actually kind of true. I just don't know if there's like a uniform style now. But I guess even back then it wasn't like actually uniform, it was just like quote unquote common, right? So
I would say
I don't think there's really a uniform style like
I think there's like
really
a
because like it's
series
just gotten so
of
diverse.
places. Yeah,
I think I wouldn't say it's like becoming the standard, but a lot of like the smaller studios especially are like kind of, you know, I would say like smooth and sharp animation. I don't know if that ever gets across to anybody if I'm just like going insane, but like take the new Devils of Part-Timers season, for example, the new studio, completely different art style. And it's like really like smooth. You don't have like any of the sharp lines or anything like that. I feel like that's a approach a lot of
I know what
studios.
you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. No. Yeah.
I feel like that's an approach that a lot of studios are taking, and I don't know like specifically if like what the purpose for that is. It's probably like easier to do, I would assume, than
Yeah, it definitely feels more modern. Like, or like, it doesn't feel more modern. It feels more common in like animes that are released, in the past.
yeah,
I don't know,
like
5 years or something.
like ReZero did it as well when it switched from season 1 to season 2. And it didn't switch studios.
Yeah.
But, and
No. There's definitely a difference. You can like tell. Yeah.
There's definitely
Not a huge difference, but like
Yeah.
you can definitely tell like your brain's like something's different.
If your brain's crazy, like Daniel's.
Yeah.
Oh, mine.
I definitely
crazy.
prefer the sharper drawn, and I don't know. I can't think of like ReZero did it fine. I think like a very like not offensive like smooth transition. But then like Devils of Part-Timers fucking awful, like absolutely terrible, like new art, and it's just really awkward whenever stuff changes, especially
Also,
like to that degree.
Real quick, I need to just go on a quick tangent about a huge pet peeve I have. And this is only really with like newer anime watchers, but I hate when people call art and animation the same thing.
Oh yeah, they're definitely
I'd
different.
agree
Like
with
It annoys me so much.
like background art especially is like so much different than like it has nothing to do with the animation as opposed to
like
and-
you can. What's a good show that's an example? Like Tatami Galaxy. If any of you guys have seen that.
I have
Like
not
the
personally.
animation in that is like it can be really really cool and like really really creative, but like the art is like not the most like detailed stuff you'll ever see. I mean that's like all intentional. Same thing with like Mob Psycho, where
I mean, you
the
guys
art
are gonna get mad
has
about
a
it. Yeah.
set art style and stuff like that, but like animation is movement. Don't call them the same thing.
I mean, you guys are gonna get mad, but this is like the problem I have with Clan Ad is that I don't like the art style,
I mean, yeah.
and
No,
that's
that's
like
an area for me too.
that's
There are
like
some
the
shows that I just
biggest
cannot watch.
issue because if it was animation, that would be one thing, but it's just I don't particularly like the art style of any of the Clan Ad, Canon, Air, all of those.
All those 2000s romance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Still need
So
it.
it's like it's not that I will never watch any of those things or am like I'm kind of violently against it, but it's halfway a joke at this point too. But it's realistically like it's just harder for me because the art style is such a harder thing I think to get over.
I mean, yeah,
than
because that's something you're
animation.
looking at 24/7.
Yeah.
I am sure Jojo is a great show with a great
Oh,
animation.
that's
but that
just
show's
saying that
art
is
style, like,
that is
oh my god, it's so
controversial.
weird.
JoJo actually is a really good example because JoJo has
Yeah.
fantastic animation, but its
Yeah,
art style is
JoJo
so
can pop
bold.
off when it wants
Yeah,
Yeah, I just I don't know. I can't like see myself ever watching it. One, because of how many fucking parts there are, and I like if I start something, I finish it. And so I know if I watch
so you have to watch.
if I
all
watch
of it,
one
yeah.
episode of this shit, I gotta watch like part 1 through 20,000 and however long that takes.
to. Hey, there's only 6 parts now.
So I watched
Yeah, only
4
6.
episodes, 4 episodes of JoJo Once Upon a Time. And admittedly, a lot of people say that the first season is generally pretty weak, but I just,
The first
it just
part,
didn't.
yeah.
Yeah,
The first
it just
part is
didn't
like
really
by
catch
far
me.
the worst. And yeah, the first part is like by far the worst and just way different from everything else. I mean, I'm willing to go as far as say like the first part is just a prequel. That's just like setting the story for like the rest of everything else.
I can see that.
Because
Given
you know how
yeah.
because you know how like every JoJo part it's a new JoJo. It's a new main character.
Yeah.
but like part 1 is like the first
Multiple
JoJo.
JoJos? What the hell?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
every part
It's
like
like a
Doctor Who.
new cast of
generation.
characters.
Yeah.
It's a new descendant like that has like the JoJo blood. in
Oh
them.
my gosh.
But like
okay.
the first part, it's really like the story's about Jonathan's descendants, and first part's about Jonathan.
Yeah, the first
But
part
Jonathan
is like
is
setting
like,
up.
yeah, Jonathan's like
Jonathan
everyone's
and-
least favorite JoJo.
Wait, I thought
Part
Joseph,
1 is like
Joseph
super short
Joestar?
too.
Is it Jonathan Joestar?
Jonathan is the first one. Joseph
Yeah.
is the second.
Oh, okay. They all descend from him. Okay.
Which is part of the point, right?
He's the OG
You know
JoJo.
Joseph. Yeah, you know Joseph from it, but like no, Joseph not the guy in season 1.
Yep,
Dude,
Joseph is not there. He does not exist yet.
A month from now, Daniel's gonna be like popping off with like JoJo references, like left and right.
absolutely fucking not.
Absolutely not.
I will.
He
If you do
denies
that,
it, he
I'm
denies
gonna
it.
stop talking.
I still can't get through. I have to get through all Monogatari first, and then I'll consider my next
the
big
goat.
adventure.
He's got way too many things.
Yeah, you
Gotta
really
You gotta watch,
gotta that.
Lives.
What's that show? Galaxy. What is it called?
Space Dandy.
No, it's
The
like
Tommy
that.
Galaxy.
The one I just
200
mentioned
episode,
2
like-
minutes ago.
Yeah, that's what
no.
I'm-
Oh, Legends
No,
of the
no, no,
Galactic
no.
Heroes.
No.
Yes,
What?
that was
What?
that one.
What?
When would we ever mention this?
Nobody, but that's your big next big project. Hey, I've decided.
I'm not. No.
That's been on my list for so long.
I'm probably
I need to
gonna-
sit down and put some time aside for that because it's a lot of episodes.
I'm probably gonna
It's
watch
getting
like
to-
Full
it's
Metal
getting to
Alchemist
the point-
Brotherhood next.
It's getting to the point where I feel so bad for Daniel that I'm about to be like, all right, One Piece for Clinad right now. But it's also funny.
Even
because
trade.
coin
We're
flips.
like slowly.
Trade offer.
We're about to trade our humanity in order to lower the base cost, and then it'll be like more possible.
Yeah, but I'd almost rather just say, please watch One Piece
Yeah.
than let's watch Prisma Iliad together for 3 seasons and 2 movies.
I'm honestly not prepared. I really like I want the openings for AMQ, but at the exact same time, I'm never gonna
I
be able to get
don't know.
that time back.
Realistically, I like don't know anything about Prisma Iliad other than people say stay away. But I lost a bet, so I have to watch season 1.
I've seen a clip,
Eventually.
and we're in for a wild ride if this is how we're
I've
lowering
not
the
seen
base
any
cost.
clips. The only thing I've seen is the character designs, which already is like
A red flag.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's anyway, back to romance, so we can like step away from
Back to
from
romance,
Prisma.
we went on quite a tangent.
Yeah. I guess kind of like talking on like the art side of things. I think probably one of the best like awkward romance I'd say is Sukiya Kire. It's one of my favorites like
Yeah,
ever.
I
Really.
like this a lot.
Yeah, I've loved this show. It's
There's like some clip. There's some dub clip that I saw. Anyway, go ahead.
A
Sorry,
dub
this
clip?
is like
all right. I definitely don't know anything about the dub for it. I don't think I want to know. But I will say I really love the art style for it. It's like
It's pretty unique.
yeah, it's like painted backgrounds type of thing, which Daimon did as well. But
The CG background
the
characters
CG
do
is
bother
down.
me.
It's so bad. It's easily the
it
worst
is
CG I've ever
jarring.
seen. It's so
It
bad.
is like it takes you out of it.
Like the cars are like perfectly like good enough, and then like it'll be at the transition scenes too. Like just don't have people there. It's okay. You don't have to have random
Just
human
don't put 'em
being
in there.
walking
You can
down the
just show me some
sidewalk.
buildings.
Yeah.
Like it's fine.
The background art's really pretty. You painted it very well. Don't put a CGI character walking around. It's just it's really
Well, it's
jarring.
not just one. There's like 50.
And it's like every now and then they'll have like one. I'm like, why do you even have this guy here? Like just have nothing. It's definitely like it's such a good show, and I don't know. It's the way they do the awkward romance where it's like instead of
It's so
the
awkward.
typical anime thing where it's like they stumble over the words 20 times, they don't do that, and that's all I can like. It's just
so
so
real.
it's so they're just awkwardly silent, and it's like yes, this is how things would be if people can't like figure out the words to say,
Yeah.
as opposed to saying like
What?
on
Yeah.
like 20 times over.
Yeah, watching that show, like, it took me like 5 minutes of watching the main character, and I was like, yeah, this is me when I am 14.
Yeah, it's just, and I'm really sad. It's like it's a one and done kind of thing. I would love to see more from it, but it's like it's just a satisfying end as well, and so it's just a good like one package little romance. And then I guess there are a lot of shows that I guess have like the romance tag. I don't know if I'd call them romances though. Like looking at my list here.
I don't think it necessarily has to be like the romance. Oh, well, go ahead. I was just gonna say that there are a lot of anime with like romance aspects that aren't
they'll have like the
focus.
romantic element. Yeah, like
Right.
I went to Eat Your Pancreas. I feel like it's such a. I don't think I'd call it a romance personally.
It's not. I mean, they pretty like blatantly.
Yeah, at the end of the movie, they're like,
like the last act is like we were not romantic. It was like their own thing.
They're just
which
good
I mean,
friends.
I personally find that like beautiful in its own way, where they just said like we had a special relationship that wasn't really like it was like more than friends, but we were not like romantically interested.
Yeah, I will say like a lot of people always like expect it. You can never see like a pair of good friends in anime. I feel like without people trying to like romantically like implicate them. An example.
My hero.
Yeah, My Hero. An example of that as well. Licorice Recoil recently, like some of the staff got attacked on Twitter for not having it be the Yuri ending, and it's like it never ever looked like it was going to be like a romance of any form. And so when people get mad over something that they were never promised to begin with, it's just so dumb.
Yeah, everyone wants Licorice Recoil to be like this big Yuri anime for out of nowhere, and I don't understand where it like came from.
Two women. That's like
they see two very close friend women, and then the artists on Twitter make their cute art, and then everyone's like, you know what? Yep, this is Yuri. There's no doubt about it. And it doesn't happen.
That's how it goes.
We have changed the genre of your own show.
Yeah, it's like literally not theirs, and they're like setting the expectations for it. Aquatope had this problem as well, where everyone's like, oh, yep, we got a Yuri on our hands. I'm like, I don't think literally any show like will be a Yuri unless it explicitly states that it's going to be.
So speaking of Yuris, I have started quite a battle in some of our other Discord servers right now because during the podcast I always will like randomly update things that I didn't notice weren't on my any list, and one of these things is a Yuri anime called Citrus.
Right, I've heard of it. Never watched it.
Is the biggest dog shit anime I've seen since Gamers. They are both equally bad, but I've started a lot of conversations in that chat about Citrus because it is, to put it strictly, it's just terrible. It's
okay, why?
So Citrus is a Yuri anime about two stepsisters who
classic.
Good start. Good start.
See where this is going. I'm on board.
Early on, the relationship is essentially developed through a lot of like manipulative and toxic behaviors between the stepsisters, which eventually become this like weird, almost like sexual assault to Yuri relationship, which is just
weird.
Yeah, it's like even comparing it to like any other Yuri that exists, it's just kind of like not, in my opinion, worth anyone's time. At all.
Surprisingly, I've watched something similar to this recently. It was an OVA from a long time ago that I saw a clip of, and I'm like, you know what? I wonder like what the actual fuck I was actually watching. It's called. I'm gonna link it in our guest chat. Hold on, I accidentally hit the wrong button. Fuck. Okay, where am I? Okay.
Anyway.
So it's a 2-episode OVA. And it's definitely one of the weirder things I think I've ever watched in my life. There's so much going on that they have to complete in 2 episodes. It is an old OVA from 2010. They released the first episode. For some reason, it took 2 years to get the next one out, apparently. It is a Yuri, and I will say I have never been blown away by a fucking 2-episode OVA plot in anything I've ever watched. I don't even know how to describe it without spoiling it. So I'm gonna spoiler warning for this random 2-episode OVA. It's
I think I'll be okay.
Kutsuki Boshi. So it's a Yuri, and this like one girl has she has like telekinetic powers or whatever. Yeah. And so one girl like finds out or whatever, and so their friendship starts like, she knows she has powers or whatever, and they're trying to like test run them, I suppose. And so then they develop a relationship from that. But then at the end of episode 1, It's like she was at her apartment or whatever, and she like left. And they're like sexually involved, by the way. I guess that's like an important thing. But she left something in the one girl's apartment, goes back inside, and the one girl's having sex with her brother. And so that's the end of episode 1. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what the fuck?
Okay, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck did I just watch? And
What
so
a cliffhanger.
I watched episode 2. And so obviously girl number 1's not very happy with girl number 2. And so girl number 2, of course, takes the most rational option, and that's to kidnap girl number 1 and lock her inside of a gym storage room, where she holds her hostage for 3 days. And it's like
Rational
so
behavior.
weird, yeah. And so eventually they break out or whatever, and they're once again still not very happy, obviously. But then I can't even remember how they like mend their relationship. I think girl number 1 eventually finds out that girl number 2 was like manipulated by her brother, because her brother was dying, and it's like his dying wish was to do things with her, and so they did. But then,
Oh my god!
and then girl number
don't
1's
even
like,
know
oh
what
yeah,
to say.
that totally makes sense, and so they mend their relationship. But then girl number 2 is like leaving the country or something, and girl number 1 doesn't want that, and so she uses her mind towers to teleport to her to bring her back to Japan. But then trying to teleport back to Japan, they teleport to another fucking planet, and that's how it ends.
What?
Yeah, dude, it's so bad.
Waited for episode 3.
I don't think episode 3 is coming out.
Yo, it's the stunning conclusion, bro. They go back to Japan and have sex with their brother again. That's
No, the brother's
That's episode
the brother's dead. He's gone.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, they wrapped up
Yeah,
that.
it's
real
insane.
quick. Took
That's-
care of that.
But it's definitely I don't know, because like
I'm gonna say it. It was one of the stories of all time.
it was
okay?
one of
There,
the
I
it
said
was
it. I
definitely
said it.
one of the stories of all time.
I don't even know
Out
if I would
of-
call Citrus one of the stories of all time.
Out of all the animes I've seen,
It's also just
definitely one of them.
disappointing to me because for Yuri, Citrus is something that I feel like a lot of people have seen. And there's just so, like, there's just better Yuris. This is like if Gamers was everyone's gateway into rom-coms.
Dude, the
Like,
first
that's how Citrus feels to
If
me.
Gamers was
It's
my
a
gateway
perfect
into
example.
rom-coms, I wouldn't be here right now. I
Yes,
would be talking about it.
That is exactly
you
my
wouldn't be
point.
talking about anime.
I
You'd
feel
have
like
your
Citrus,
Philadelphia
is
Eagles
like-
podcast.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like
No.
Citrus is one of the gateways that people have to Yuri, and then it's like, oh, this is like mega cringe. Holy shit.
My first, I think, like quote unquote Japanese media, even before anime, the manga that I read the first was Bloom Into You. Have you heard of this?
That's like a very popular year.
Yeah, it's very popular,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was like my first. So it was like, and I read it like very quickly, like in 2 days or whatever. I mean, it is kind of short, I guess, compared to a lot of other serial mangas, but manga. I don't know why I said manga. Anyway, yeah, it was my first one. So that was like my introduction to quote unquote to Yuri manga. So I thought that was like, it's popular. It's not like, it's not like Daniel's OVAs. So I guess that was like quote unquote normal. And I think it has an anime
Yeah,
adaptation.
it does. It's one
Yeah, it
one
does.
season
I just
only,
haven't
but
seen it. But yeah.
your introduction
like,
into things is so weird. I never would have expected like a Yuri manga was your first, and then you went to watch Ouchan Can't Study.
Yeah, I know,
Well,
right?
I don't know
crazy.
how he's here, to be honest.
Dude, I don't know how I'm alive, bro. I ask myself that every day, but here we are. Let's go.
I guess on the topic of the sibling relationships, I feel like that's a very big trope in fucking
It's a really
romance.
big trope.
I don't.
Yo,
What
domestic
what
girlfriend?
went wrong in Japan for this to be like a tropey thing that is successful most of the time?
Very strong familial values.
It just
Very
it feels
strong.
like one of those things that it starts off as like a classic taboo type relationship that happens in like all forms of, I don't want to say media, but like those types of like stories and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then probably just like something caught on the way that it feels like all Japanese media does, all media in general. And then it was just like, oh, people like this shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can add that to my story.
No one ever has the balls to like. It's always the step siblings. No one has the
Yeah.
balls to go any further
No
than
one
that.
has the balls to just straight up.
Actually, I think Yasuga,
Well, I think
Yasuga
that-
no
I think
Sora
there
might have
be
had the balls.
legal-
Yosuga no
Yeah,
Sora,
Yasuga no Sora definitely had the balls. I'm pretty sure. At least they look exactly alike. So if they're not related by blood, that's a crazy coincidence. But I'm pretty sure they were. It's very. We don't talk about that in anime though.
Yeah.
No, we do not.
But like
I want to say a lot of stuff, if they go farther than that, will have issues actually being published. Like, they will frequently get turned down. Because I think that that's just a line that if you try and cross that line, everyone is like, that's too much. I cannot put you in, my manga magazine or on, public TV.
Yeah. And it's always, I think it'll always be like the step line, which, I mean, I don't know, you can get some stuff out of that. Like, we thought Mama Haha last season would be maybe decent, and then it like went to shit, but so we don't talk about that. But then Domestic Girlfriend I read far too much of for my own good, and then was highly disappointed in the end. That's definitely the most disappointed I've been from losing a harem. And I
heard the manga ending was terrible. Yeah. I watched the anime, so
I don't know a single person that enjoyed the ending.
The ending is easily the worst ending I've ever seen in anything. It's honestly impressive how bad it was.
I've heard about it.
It's just so weird when, like, I don't understand how this show with the most batshit insane premise is able to like actually be like decent, and then it just throws all of that away for the like surprise ending. And so it's just, I don't know, almost 300 chapters of reading. Definitely just, I've ranted about it before, so I'm going to stop here, but it's just so fucking dumb.
If I remember correctly, the anime ending was like a little bit weird, but yeah, I know the manga ending is a lot crazier. That show is like I actually really like that show. I mean, it says nothing to do with the incest or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I really like that show. I don't know why. It's just cool. Also, the opening theme song is slaps.
It's like a top 5 opening of all time.
Yeah, I
feel like all shit anime have good openings.
Yeah, they all do.
That's the trend. You need to plot that shit anime versus like opening quality.
Opening quality versus rating on a website.
Like, I'm looking at like the absolute like bottom barrel of my romance anime right now, and I have like Eromanga Sensei is a slapper, like OP and ED. Obviously, Domestic Girlfriend we just mentioned. Goddess of or Mother of Goddess Dormitory as a slapper. Assassin's Pride. It's just so many. And speaking of things at the bottom of my list, one of the more unique romance concepts I guess more recently would be girlfriend. As dumb as shit as the show is.
Okay, but girlfriend, we want to talk about like art and animation. I love the art in girlfriend for no reason.
I think, yeah, it's fine. The premise is just too much. It's so dumb. Too much.
They're a little over the top, but he just has cute art.
I think, honestly, outside of like Rent-A-Girlfriend protagonist, I think the protagonist in Girlfriend, it might be the dumbest motherfucker on the planet. He's like a big sweet idiot, but he's so fucking stupid.
He's so stupid. That's like his trait too, is they're always like, you're so fucking dumb.
I hate stupid main characters.
Dude, it takes it just to another level. It's so dumb.
If there was one trope that I could probably just want to get rid of, it would either be the childhood friend trope, because I've just seen too much of it, or like just having the MC just be just no brain.
Yeah.
Can't read the room. Just doesn't know what's going on. It's hate so awful. Characters.
Depends on how dense, I guess, but like
sometimes it can be kind of dense just for the comedic aspect.
I also hate airheads. The airhead like trope of like it's just like it's not endearing at all to me. I don't know why. It's just like it's awful.
It depends on how stupid the airhead is. I don't know, because like
sure, I guess there's a degree. Yeah.
Because if it like Nagisa from Clannad is like generally an airhead, but she's like well intentioned, I suppose, and so it works.
And it's done in a cutesy way.
Yeah, instead of just being like she's just fucking stupid. She's stupid, and it like adds to the comedic aspect.
And it also adds to her like innocence as a character.
Yes,
that's like a very big thing with her, is like how innocent and pure she kind of is.
Definitely, like a lot of people like look at her as like a bland character. I honestly think she's like a really good character. I think After Story shows that more than like base Clannad does. But
yeah, After Story does wonders for her character.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously there's like playing the visual novel is such like a different experience. I didn't think kissing existed in Clannad until playing the visual novel, and it just happened. I'm like, how the fuck did I get here? Where was this in the anime?
Yeah, the anime doesn't show you anything.
Literally not a single thing. It's honestly impressive, but
it's like so good it doesn't matter.
Yeah, honestly, it is the best experience, even like outside of like just the romance aspect of it. It's just so good. There's not a better experience. I'd give it 11 out of 10 if I could. There's not a better experience.
It's the only After Story is like the only anime that I know it's not like flawless 10 out of 10. Like there's stuff wrong with it.
I think the beginning
But
arcs
like
are probably
yeah, and I mean I'm just talking about just like After Story, but like the first half
Yeah.
of After Story like is nothing compared to the second half. But I mean, the second half is just so god tier it makes the first half look not that great. But it's like the most emotionally moving like piece of fiction I've ever seen. So like I can't not give it a 10.
It's like, yeah, I don't know, it breaks me I'll never be able to rewatch it without at least crying once. I definitely like I'm stronger on like certain parts now, but
Oh my God.
there's always something.
I'm just thinking about it now, man. I'm getting all worked up.
Yeah, like I've never had anything make me cry more than once, but After Story did it like 7 episodes in a row, and like I don't know, it's just
After Story just gets to a point where like from pretty much one episode onwards, every single episode gets the tears going for the rest of the entire series.
it's just so well done. I can't say enough about it. I guess we talked about this. I probably should have brought this up earlier, but fast moving romances. Spad actually just finished it in World End.
I was gonna say that, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that one. Okay, I guess it's like it's kind of hard to say because like adaptation from a light novel. You probably know better than I do how fast it actually moves. It felt like it moved really fast. By episode like 6 or something, they were talking about getting married. I'm like, what?
No.
Relax.
You're getting like way too ahead of yourself here. But the novels themselves aren't very long, and so it's definitely like a more fast pace.
Pretty fast paced in general.
Yeah, like the first novel doesn't even break 200. I'm pretty sure pages wise. So it's like definitely a shorter thing, and there's definitely like stuff left out. I think it makes sense given the themes though, because a lot of like with World End, obviously there's kind of like a need to rush it because the life of like Kothali, for example, is like extremely rushed, obviously, given the premise of the show. And so there's not really like time for her to slow down. I can't go too deep into it without just spoiling the entire fucking thing. And so I'll leave it at that. But like if I wanted to go in depth on this, I think the speed run in this it's not even like too big of a speed run either. Maybe like towards the end or whatever, but I think it helps the like given the themes of the show.
No, I think it was well placed in the sense of like it didn't feel like it was like out of place with like the rest of the plot. It just felt fast compared to other animes. That's all. But I mean, considering the context of the story, it's fine. Just definitely fast.
Yeah. And honestly, fast is better than too slow, because then we have an anime I watched, and I heard it was good. I was lied to. And so this is why I choose my own shows now instead of listening to recommendations, unless it's like, unless it's something I know is going to be like good, I suppose. But Just Because is one of the worst romance animes it's not even like, not the worst, but it's like, it's so painfully fucking average. And it's one of those things where it's a one and done. And the confession does not come until the last 10 seconds of the anime, and then it's just done. And I'm like, okay, well, that's 12 episodes I just wasted out of my life.
Sounds terrible.
I'm like, I don't know. The ending actually pissed me off so much. It's one of the most frustrating, because like a lot of, like we mentioned gamers earlier, basic human communication is a very important thing that I feel like a lot of anime don't take into consideration. Just Because, how much did anyone care about Just Because after I just took a shit on it?
None.
I don't.
Okay. So Just Because, the ending of it, for anyone who cares, I'm about to spoil it, but so at the end, so one guy he has like a recommendation or whatever to get into like this really good college, right? And he has like a fight with the girl he likes or whatever. And they're not like a couple or anything. They just both like each other, don't know it type of thing. But he wants to like go to the same school she does, but she didn't know that. But she wants to get into like the big school that he is going to. And so, without either of them knowing it, and other characters have this information, but just don't relay it to anyone. And so it's just so annoying when they're both trying to go to different schools by accident because they don't know the other one's trying to get into the other. And so it's like the biggest like luck of all time that somehow this smart motherfucker that gets into this big ass school gets rejected from like the basic bitch school And so he has to go to his school, and then the one girl passes and gets into his, and that's how they meet back up or whatever. But it's like they wouldn't need to risk anything, I guess, if the friends had just been like, hey, by the way, this person is trying to get into your school to be with you or whatever. And no one does that, or at least like just trying to get into your school, and that would make them stop. And so somehow, you know, they just luck into it. The smart guy fails easy test, and then the one girl passes very hard test. I don't know. It made me upset to watch it unfold.
That sounds like a mess.
It is a mess.
Yeah. It sounds like an unenjoyable mess, which you said you didn't enjoy it, so fair enough.
I'm like, fucking damn it. Can someone just like send a text like, hey, by the way, I'm trying to get to this school? And then everything is just done. The whole, like, the tension of like the last couple episodes just doesn't fucking exist. Oh.
You've been giving me a lot of like anti-recommendations of stuff to not watch.
Well, let me see if I can give any recommendations. Hold on, let me look. It's tough because like all the good things like you've probably seen in some like capacity. If you haven't seen World End, I highly suggest that one. It's my favorite anime.
I've not seen World End.
Yeah, it's my favorite anime.
I'm planning a rewatch of World End soon because I remember I watched World End, all of it, like 5 years ago or 4 years ago, something like that. I remember enjoying it, but I also do not have like memories of it. I just know that I watched it.
Yeah. And then another one. I'm reading the novels for this right now, but Tomazaki, bottom tier character, Tomazaki. It's pretty cringe for the first 4 episodes, but then that's novel 1 done, and then it gets good from there. But
yeah, that one's on my plan to watch. It's enticing enough for me to check it out eventually.
Yeah.
It's practically required watching for one of our friend groups for some reason. We have like a few random anime in that friend group that are just like things that everyone watches. For it just catches on in the group, and then next thing you know, the entire like 15-person Discord is watching every week. And somehow Tomazaki was like one of the first of those.
it's good. Like, I mean, I don't know. It was like one of those things where like romance. Yes, I like romance, and so I put it on the plan to watch, and then it's like really cringe for the first 4 episodes, and not like it's
yeah,
not,
it is really. I think the concept of it with like the games, not the games, but like the game, like the whole premise is just like it's a little bit weird.
The premise is like uncringing the cringe, and so like over time it gets infinitely less cringe as you go on.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
That sounds incredibly relieving.
Yeah, like
there's like this whole thing about like how like people were rating it poorly on my anime list because they watched like 2 episodes and rated it like
so many people dropped it immediately, and so it was like so satisfying to see like the people who stuck around, like because it was below a 7, which is like a death sentence for a lot of anime in terms of like will people watch it like going forward if they get recommended it. And so it was so satisfying to just see it slowly crawl from the fucking depths from like a 6.7 to like a 7. Where is it now? Hold on, let me look. I want to say it got to like a 7.2, which like a 0.5 jump
like Tomazaki,
from an anime that had like that bad of a start.
Yeah. I feel like it did the thing that I wanted gamers to do way back when, which is it turned a corner at some point where it wasn't shit. But gamers just kept digging and digging and digging.
It's a 7.13 now, but it was like well under a 7 for a while, and so it was very nice to see it like crawl back from the fucking dead. And it has a season 2 coming of it, or anime project, probably a season 2. I can't imagine they'll make a movie out of this, but it's it's good.
It pulled the anti Promise Neverland season 2. Just kept climbing up from the depths.
Yeah, I feel bad for Promise Neverland.
The second season did not exist, okay?
The second season did not happen. We don't talk about it.
We just established that.
I've never watched it, but I've read like a good chunk of Horimiya, and that was one that I liked a lot.
I like
Horimiya's.
I have a love-hate relationship with it.
I think the specific nice thing for me is that I've only read the part of the beginning, and I haven't gotten to the second half of it. From my understanding of Horimiya.
It was so good until it wasn't. The manga completely ruins Hori's character, and I'm glad the anime, like, at first I'm like, oh damn, they just speed ran the whole thing. I'm so glad they did it because it didn't
do any of that.
It didn't have enough time to shit all over her character by turning her into a masochist or whatever. And that's like her whole character quirk. It's like, I don't know. It did really good for a long time. I feel like the author just stopped doing what they were doing and turned it into a slice of life purely. and that definitely like killed the manga for me.
Yeah.
Because like
That's pretty much like everyone's complaints I've heard with it
Yeah.
is like just after like you're done with all like the stuff that brought you in to begin with, it's like they're not gonna end it. It's just gonna be focusing on side characters now.
it's not even that. Like I'm fine with the side character stuff, but it's like everything they do doesn't matter, I suppose. Because I'm fine with slice of life stuff. I like fluff. And I can talk about like fluff in a minute, I guess, but fluff for Horimiya isn't why I read it to begin with. And so it was just not the transition that needed to happen, because there's still a bunch of like character lines that never get resolved or whatever. Characters that could have been explored more. They all just like stop at like the medium part of the pool, and they never really like dove into the deep end where they could have. And so it just kind of like kept going until the author was like, you know what, fuck it, we're done. And they just like went to the end, basically. I don't know, very unfortunate, but yeah, fluff. Fluff. Confirmed
Talking
for
about Angel.
confirmed for 2023 is one of my favorite novels right now is Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten, and the main girl from that is one of my favorites all time. And so I'm very excited for that, and I highly suggest people watch that.
High praise. I'll
Yeah,
give it a look now.
Wait, wasn't it's a novel, right?
Lot of people.
I feel like I've asked this 5 times, but it's a novel, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Figured. Okay.
Yeah, novel. It's like which you wouldn't expect like fluff from a novel, I guess. A lot of manga do it as opposed to novels, but it just does things right, I suppose. Yeah, it's like it takes like what we were talking about earlier, like it goes away from like the conventional tropes and stuff to like be just good, and I'm so glad it does. There's no like there's no drama where like you would like see a character get introduced like, oh, they're gonna be an asshole, and then it turns out that person's like a really good guy, and you're like, oh, I kind of feel bad for like, you know,
kind of feel bad for thinking he's an asshole.
I immediately placed a label on this motherfucker, not knowing anything, and then like eventually it's like, yeah, there's a good person. I'm like, I'm so happy about this, because
That sounds lovely.
It is lovely. It's just it breaks all the little tropes. It's like it's still slow burn, probably more than it should be given like the closeness of the characters, but it's good. I hope they don't fuck up the adaptation. That's all I hope for.
I'm definitely gonna watch it because Daniel and Mars, another of my Discord friends, are two of the people that I think I have like some of the highest opinions of their recommendations, and they usually don't steer me too wrong. And it's one of the few things that I think that they both agree on, and very strongly.
It's just so precious. There's nothing else to say for it. Also in 2023 is Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible, which is also good fluff. A lot of fluff for 2023
It's also
January.
Be required viewing for our Discord friends.
Yes, very important that Kubo get it, because it's already like, I don't know, it's the AMQ password. It has to be watched.
Like integrated in the server, and like 2 people read it, but we're still like all just Kubo pills.
It's more than 2 people. I fucking think. I can't remember all who read it.
It might be like 3 or 4, but I think it's like less than you would think, because I don't think Lugia reads it.
I can't remember if Lugia
Mars maybe does.
Mars does read it because he thought no one else read it, but then Resh was like, no.
Mort reads it, you read it. Resh might read it.
Resh reads it, yeah. He should anyway, I'm pretty sure he does.
It's 4. Spaz reads everything, but he never tells you he reads anything, so I'm gonna assume Spaz, but I
would be unsurprised. I could probably check like a little
right now. He reads the wiki.
He reads the wiki. Yeah. I have to like go over to my manga list. Fuck, damn it. I wonder if I guess I have like some. Very rarely do I like just read something like exclusively. But I have done that for a lot of like romance manga because I was on like a. Not even like I couldn't find any good romance anime that I wanted to watch, and so I went to the manga side of things. That's initially how I found like Tonikaku, but then I found like Boarding School Juliet. I think got an anime in 2018. I want to say.
I really want to watch Boarding School.
A few of my friends absolutely love Boarding School Juliet.
Yeah, I read the manga for it. It's cute. It's it's nothing like crazy. I suppose it's been a while since I read it, so I'm sure there's a bunch of details I forgot. but it's good. And I read Nisekoi instead of watching it, which is probably for the best.
Probably.
I don't know if I could.
As much as I love
I'm
Shaft.
thinking if I go back to Nisekoi, I'll probably read it whenever that does or doesn't happen. But then I don't get to hear Claire's openings every episode.
Okay, let's see. Lugia is reading Kubo, actually. It's Lugia, SCB, Mort, me, Mars, Resh.
SCP makes sense.
Yeah, because it was in Joey Cord Manga Club or whatever. RIP Manga Club, but... RIP. But yeah, no, it's...
I think the ones I read from
good.
that were, I already mentioned Tony Kaku, and there was one other. It was like the doll one. You know what I'm talking about? The doll in like that city. Clockwork
Planet?
something?
Yeah, Clockwork
Yes.
Planet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doll is like the wrong word. Whatever.
I'm-
Android. Yeah.
I'm only the one who picked that, and I never fucking read it.
No, I did read it. Or I read like most of.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I submitted like slam dunk to that and then never read anything from any of the suggestions. But I was just like, read slam dunk, guys.
Manga Club had its run. It died as it probably... It died in probably later than it should have, I suppose. I don't know.
It was one of the clubs of all time.
It was one of the clubs of all time. It all went down. It like ended officially basically when Mort had his manga picked and nobody fucking read it. Oh. But fuck, am I out of? I have a lot of romance manga that I wish had more anime parts to it, and I'd probably watch them.
One, but it's like kind of like, how do I say it? R-rated. It's not like an actual like.
we
it's not hentai,
literally
hentai.
we just talked
It's
about.
not hentai. It's not hentai. Okay.
Look, Spat, we
He's
just
scoping
talked
hentai.
about brothers and sisters doing things with each other. You can say whatever
True.
you want,
Okay,
and it won't
I
be the
should be
worst thing that
embarrassed.
we've said so
We've
far.
crossed the step
It's
line.
called Velvet Kiss. Have you heard of it?
I feel like I have.
I think
Hold
I've heard of it.
Okay,
but
anyway,
I don't know anything
It's
about
like
it.
it was the story was like actually good, but it's like okay, it has like sex in it. Like oh my god, freaking sex is like gross or whatever. No, it's like actually it was actually I actually really like
Okay, you know what?
legit read it.
I lied. I've never heard of this in my life. It's just
Still
a.
trying to find it.
I read it like I don't know, maybe
Do
a year and a
you
half ago. Or
do you have the naughty button turned
It is.
on any list? Otherwise, you're not gonna be able to find it.
I'm pretty sure I have it on my any list.
I
definitely
can see it here. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see it. Wow, this is a 40 cover. Holy
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I see now.
Yeah.
18 plus content. Anyway, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting for sure. I liked it. You know, it is what it is.
Interesting.
Only 32 chapters. A very short one.
Yeah, it is not very long. I finished in like a day and a half or something.
Yeah,
Like, it was
I'm-
like
For you, I'll put this on my planning.
what was that?
I said for you, I'll put this on my planning.
I will not put it on my planning.
That's fine. It's like it's not amazing. I just like it. That's all. It is not a must read. It is just a romance manga.
You have the most like odd things that I just.
Odd taste. Yep.
I don't
know
understand how some of the things he will watch or read randomly, how he found them, but then like the most basic stuff, be like, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
Random.
You're
Random.
an odd case. Yeah,
I'm a unique character.
a very.
I'm one of the
unique character.
characters of all time.
You were a human being
Definitely one of the
Real
characters of all
human
time.
being.
You are one of 8 billion people on this planet for sure. I guess kind of
Fuck,
looking.
man, I forgot we got to 8 billion. My
Yeah,
entire life, it's been 7.
I think
So
it's
weird,
about to hit 8 billion anyway. Like
Yeah.
it was like November or something projected, but who fucking knows? I guess looking forward to the future to
Smartphone
fall.
season 2.
No, not that far into the future. We don't talk about that. But like romances for next season, we have a few of them, I suppose. I guess the big one would be more than a married couple, but not lovers.
Yeah. Oh wait, that's 2 seasons, right? We're in 2022 still.
As far as I'm aware with the contents of season 2 of Teary Eternity, because that is a manga I'm pretty far into, that's gonna have some romance in it, I think.
I see.
Depending on
Really?
how many episodes it's gonna have. Yeah, there's
It
gonna
should have
be
20. It says, I think.
it's not gonna be like a big deal or anything, but it's gonna be like a subplot.
I like my
As far as I'm
romantic
concerned, from what I
subplots.
remember, it's been a bit since I've read like what season 2 is going to adapt. I
also
can
the
say
Diamond
season
Pearl.
2 is going to be like a lot better than season 1.
season 1 was like a roller coaster ride because like the first episode I'm like, holy shit, this is gonna be so good, and then like
the first episode is one of the best first episodes I've ever seen.
And then all the stuff happened with March, and I'm like, I don't know, whatever. And then it gets to Gugu. I'm like, I can invest myself into this. And then after Gugu, it's like, go to the island, and it's like, all right.
Yeah, it has a really bad case of like ending the season on the worst arc in the manga.
Yeah, just like
it was a lot more bearable in the manga because you can just read through it, and it was so dialogue heavy. Like it did not feel anywhere near as long.
I needed to break away from the meet character die, meet character die, meet character die type of thing because it's just
that's what season 2 will do.
Thank fuck.
Not to spoil too much, but like
I kind of
have to tell people that to make them watch it because I'm like, trust me, season 2 is actually going to be like pretty solid.
Because that makes it mean so much more. Because I can't get attached to anyone. I'm just like, you're gonna fucking die.
You're gonna keep your guard up the whole time. But like season 2, it's gonna be like you're gonna spend a lot more time with like a single like set cast of characters.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. It's gonna get a lot more interesting with the world building and Fushi's like power scaling, or not. I guess power scaling is the right word, but like more of his powers and stuff he can do. It's gonna be like night and day, in my opinion, at least. I think like the shining like part of season 1 outside of like the first episode was like everything with Gugu. I think that stuff was like actually like fairly well written.
Yeah, that was like the arc I liked outside of the first
and I was
episode.
like actually like invested like reading because I read it before like it came out. But I was like legitimately like invested in like Gugu and the characters in that arc and stuff like that. When I got to the end of it, I mean, I was like, man, I saw it coming, but
yeah,
I'm still sad.
Love Flops comes out next season. I still don't actually even know what this is about, but I'm like, I like the voice actresses for the characters, and so it's probably just gonna be a shitty harem that I end up hating by the end of the season. But it's something I'll be watching, I suppose. I guess actually with summer as well, Call of the Night I thought was actually pretty good. At first I didn't know if I was going to watch it, and then I did.
Yeah. Was Call of the Night very romancy?
It's like kind of the whole point. So in Call of the Night, the vampires, it's like the main character wants to become a vampire or whatever. That's kind of like the whole thing. But in this world, it's the main character has to fall in love with the vampire who's trying to turn him. And so it's this dude who's like completely cut off from like, he doesn't really know how to feel about things, I guess. And so it's him trying to change himself to be able to fall in love with this vampire, and so he can, he can turn into a vampire. But there's more than that. Like the actual story itself, because at first I thought it was gonna be like, all right, it's good production quality, but it's just gonna be like the episodic, like what are they doing in this episode type of thing. But it completely like deviates from that, like halfway through, and it like opens up the world to something more interesting and makes for a more interesting story. So I think it's definitely worth watching. I liked it a lot by the end of it.
Good world building helps the story so much in like every way.
Yeah, and you wouldn't expect it from like a romance or whatever, but obviously with vampires there has to be like more going on in the back, and there was
copy pasta of like Joey with the world building thing.
That's
let me build a story for you.
Yeah, that's different. That's different.
I love that one.
Is that still pinned? It has to be, right?
It's surely.
Dude, it's the best.
Somewhere.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's like the best thing ever.
I don't think you understand my issue. That's okay. All world builds for you. We have 16
It's so good. It's so good.
Oh my god. You're such a monkey.
That's like the only thing I can think about whenever someone says world building. It's just that stupid pasta. Because he's like, okay,
there's like some decent stuff.
I'm so sorry for bringing it up.
No. It made me laugh. All right.
It's
some decent stuff I think I've heard about coming in next year too. Outside of
I don't know if I've taken too much of a look.
So there's
movie.
Tomo-chan is a girl, which I've heard a decent amount of stuff from people about. I don't know anything about it. But like the one that I've heard
tomboy thing. That's about
a lot of people have talked really well about is the ice guy and his cool female colleague.
I don't think I've ever heard of that in my life.
Yeah, I can link it to you.
There's this second season of Nagatoro. Peak romance.
There is a second season of Nagatoro. We don't talk about that one. This one I've heard a decent amount about.
Apparently the manga for Nagatoro is actually good, which I don't know. I haven't read it myself, but
yeah, every person I know that's read Nagatoro says like you wouldn't believe this, but like this actually slaps.
I understand why and how Nagatoro could get good. I'm just not interested
That's how I feel.
to be
Understandable.
strictly specific about it. I
Uh,
also think it's crazy that when I search romance for 2023, Tokyo Revengers is the second thing to come
It's
up.
like one of those things where like it has romance. I wouldn't call it, a romance.
I feel like there's a lot of things that I could have, like almost every shonen that I've watched, like there is romance, kind of. Well, maybe not everything I've watched. There's no romance. Well, there is romance in Fairy Tail, but not the romance
It's
people want.
like monkey romance. Ayakashi Triangle is coming out in winter as well. That's the Televeru author's next series, so that'll be fun. More, I don't know. I don't think he could ever like live up to what Televeru was as like a shitty harem. Like
Deliveroo is still one of my first animes that I ever saw.
you,
But I only saw
you
the
watched
first episode.
Televeru. Oh, okay. You only watched
Yeah,
the
dude,
first
I'm
episode.
telling you, I got all the weird stuff. No, that was like, and I was just like, I don't know, I just didn't like it, but
I think
it's an interesting anime.
it
for
was
sure.
like shitty harem done correctly, I suppose. And so
Yeah, I guess I was just
it was like
I have
egregious.
no way to justify my choices, but I did watch an episode of it.
It was like egregious fan service, like over the top, and so
100%.
it knew what its audience was, and it went forward with that.
I think there was like one clip I saw on YouTube. I don't know if it was like in the one of the first seasons or whatever. It was like the guy had like glasses that could like see through everything or something.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I don't
that
know.
was
It was like
second season.
weird.
I don't know because
Interesting stuff.
I know I've seen it. I just like randomly stopped 7 episodes into the third season. I need to finish it eventually, but I have like no like desire to go watch The Lover again. After a 5-year pause, basically, but
I don't know. Televeru to me is like, it looks cute. I feel like art-wise, I want to watch it, but then it's horny. And
it's
always
it's really horny. Like,
yeah,
it is-
exactly. So then I'm like, do I really want to watch To Lover though?
That's
Right.
exactly how I feel.
Like
I said, we're the same person.
I feel like one day I might give in and just be like, all right, let's see what all the buzz is about.
I feel like after
Episode 1 and just tag Daniel in Discord and be like, what the fuck is this?
the first season's not even that bad. It gets like really egregious though, and
Get
like
really bad later.
later, it's like it's like a full descent into debauchery. I don't know. It's just something. But fuck, I had something I wanted to say. No, oh yeah. After we watch Prismalia, there'll be nothing that can phase you, and so you can go watch whatever you want.
You know, that is something that we in the business call looking at the bright side.
The bright side of things. I think Warii mentioned the Takagi movie. I don't know when the fuck we're gonna get that, but that is a thing that exists.
The Kaguya movie.
Oh, Kaguya movie, not Takagi.
Yeah. I just assume it's going to come out next
Both
year.
of those exist though.
I think I can't remember what it got. I want to
Isn't
say
it?
they confirmed the year, but maybe not.
It's going to be either
also
2023 or
agree.
2024.
It will
Um,
for sure be one of them. Who knows though? Okay, I guess they didn't confirm the time. I would think it probably would make sense for 2024, but
I think it's going to get a Japanese release in like end of 2023, and then we'll get it over here in like first half of 2024.
yeah, I hate that shit so much. I really
Yeah,
do.
Demon Slayer.
Yeah. And the JJK for I already read the
Yeah.
manga for that though, like the prequel, so I wasn't like too concerned about the whatever taking a while. I thought it was funny we got the I got to see the Demon Slayer for free. I'm like, should I go see this in theaters or whatever? I don't care that much about Demon Slayer. And then like one Sony employee fucked up and leaked it or whatever. And so I'm like, yay, don't have to go to the movies. All right. I actually think I want to maybe I might be capping like completely, but I want to say I saw Kaguya movie would get a theatrical release, but it would also be released online. I might be insane though.
I haven't
That's what
seen
would
it,
make
but I
more
also
sense.
wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
I wonder if it gets a theatrical release, like how well it's going to do.
I think it would do. It's really
There's no way it
popular.
doesn't do well, right?
I think
it's
people
really
like
popular.
It'll
going-
do well, but I question
Yeah.
how well.
Yeah, because at that point, like right now, like the hype for the series is at like an all-time high because the anime just finished airing
Yeah.
and
But
stuff.
by the time,
And like the manga is about to end as well. So
I
like
guess
right
it-
now
it's-
everything's clicking for it.
Yeah,
But over a year from now,
Yeah.
The hype's
Also, I'm
not going to be
thinking
there as
like
much.
I think like the two like movies that people like I guess point to in recent memory were like number one, the Demon Slayer movie, and number two, there's a Jujutsu Kaisen movie. I think, right? Or am I-
We
Yeah.
just talked about it.
Dude, I zoned out.
Yeah, we
Anyway,
just mentioned him
point
30
is,
seconds ago.
dude, I zoned out. I'm sorry. I'm the pagan.
But yeah, no, like
No, but it's like
yeah.
it's like a romance specifically. It's just like it's just gonna be a different thing. Like I don't know like I guess like yeah, it's just like the action thing in like the terms of theatrical sense is like
I
Yeah,
just think if
I don't
the
think it would
movie
do
is
as well
good
as like a
and
shonen.
it's-
yeah.
If the movie's good and people widely consider it good, people will go to the theaters to watch it.
There's also
Not
like
everyone,
the
obviously, but like I think as long as the movie is done well, it's not like a concern.
there's like
Yeah.
the barrier of entry as well for Kaguya as
Yeah.
opposed to like because like Demon Slayer you got one season,
That's
Jujutsu Kaisen one season, but then Kaguya has 3 seasons before you can
Also,
like
like
tap it.
shonen,
Yeah.
even if you haven't
Yeah,
like
yeah, I was
watched
gonna say.
shonen, like you can kind of go watch the Demon Slayer movie without knowing anything about Demon Slayer and still have a good time. I don't know that
Appreciate the
Kaguya was
animation.
that easy.
Animation on big screen.
Yeah, flashy
Yeah, it's
colors,
like-
that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always
And
gonna
the
be
sound
that.
design.
Yeah, there's
Which
not a
I
whole
don't
lot
think
going
super
on.
underrated.
Not a whole lot
photo.
going on in Demon Slayer anyway, so
And obviously, Jujutsu Kaisen is like the movie is its own story.
yeah, it's a
so-
prequel. You don't need to. I think obviously it helps to know things, but
Yeah.
Now you should definitely watch the season 1 before you watch the prequel, because I mean, it's the prequel is made within mind of the audience have already watched the first season, so they don't go into detail explaining a lot of things.
yeah, there's
course.
like
They also put
some
in-
like
Play.
base stuff.
They put in a
Yeah.
lot of stuff that's like it's cool if you watch the first season first, because then it's like, oh, this is what they were talking about. Where if you're just starting with this, it goes right over your head.
Yeah,
But I think the point is that like a person could go watch those two movies, whereas
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Kaguya probably won't be that simple for the movie.
I mean,
Yeah, no,
you definitely
you could
can't
not
go.
just
can't go
yeah,
watch
you
it.
can't just skip 3 seasons and just watch this movie that takes place like halfway in the manga story.
Yeah. I mean they'll
But-
do a good job with it. Hopefully, it's
I
A1.
hope so.
I trust
I mean,
A1.
yeah,
with
A1
what they
has
do.
done a spectacular job with their adaptations so far with Kaguya and also 86. Both really,
Yeah.
really good adaptations. So I trust them like wholeheartedly in the team that's working on it to do a good job, but I am kind of nervous with how
They
they're
just
gonna
have
go
a
about adapting
whole
it.
lot on their
Just
plate as
getting
well.
more
It's like
things.
Yeah,
because they got to do the solo leveling. I think they're doing the near, and then they're
doing the near anime,
yeah.
which I'm also incredibly excited for.
doing
I
a,
feel like
a
every
fate
time I
special.
look away, every time I look away from A1, they're like picking up 5 more projects to do in the next 6
I think
months.
it's just like Aniplex pushing it onto them, like, please do this, please.
And I think they're going to be doing a second season, or I guess third season for 86 at some point relatively soon.
Probably. They have Mashal as well. I think that's a Shonen Jump
Yeah.
manga, so that'll be fun for them, I suppose.
Yeah, they're turning into Mappa almost at this
Yeah.
point.
The Sword Art movie, but actually, it's like Aaron.
Oh yeah, and they do
soon.
Sword Art too, so yeah,
Yeah.
they got a lot on their plate.
And they just also did Engage Kiss and Licorice Recoil, and Engage Kiss cost them a lot of money. I don't know how well that's gonna.
Animation.
It was like it wasn't even like that insane. It,
Recoil's paying for
oh
it.
yeah, Licorice Recoil just like paid for every project for the next like 10 years or whatever, so they'll be fine.
That's probably true.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope we get a second season of that as well, but I do feel bad for A1 at this point because they just gotta keep doing stuff.
Yeah, I
Someone
really hope they
getting
can.
overworked.
I really hope they can keep up their level of quality in terms of adaptations and stuff
Yeah.
like that. They're one of my favorite studios right now. I'd honestly put them like in my top 3 studios.
Yeah,
Right
I
now.
definitely like them a lot. Even with like production issues, 86 turned out really well. Obviously, we had to wait for like the last 2 episodes of part 2.
Oh my
but
god, that was horrendous.
Especially where they,
Just the
especially where they
timing
ended
with
it
what
too.
just happened and
Yeah.
stuff. It was like an insane cliffhanger, and then
Yeah.
we had to wait. Actually, we had to wait 86 days for the next episode.
That's
Um,
quite something.
Wait, was it just like COVID or something?
Well,
they were having production
Yeah.
issues. I think
Just
COVID
straight up,
related.
just, like,
COVID-
issues, okay.
I think
Like,
COVID caused one, and then it was just really bad for the second part because we had a delay, and then we got an episode, but then we had another delay, and
Yeah.
then we had a few more episodes, but then they needed another delay. But by that point, they had already used like it's like snow days at school. How it's like
It's all the
you have
snow,
like
yeah.
you have 2 built in or whatever, so you don't have to do any homework. But then they get to the third delay, and they don't have any more slots to air in because Dress Up Darling was coming out. And obviously, personally, I wouldn't have minded Dress Up Darling getting pushed back, but obviously that's not going to work. So they had to like move to the end of the season, basically, or the middle of the season, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was worth the wait.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, the end of season 2 is fantastic.
I'll read the novel eventually, on the shelf, 10 volumes, but I'm really bad about reading things.
The novel, but yeah, me too. I'm really bad at reading things.
Hey, listen, it's a good prop or good decoration. So, don't you have like a bunch of like you have a bunch of like series of like books and stuff, like, right? Like, do you have an entire like bookshelf, right?
Yeah, I can't take my mic off the thing, that'll disconnect
That's
it.
fine. No, I was just curious because I feel like I've seen you take so many pictures. I'm just like, damn, this could like make an entire like,
off the top of my
shelves and
head,
stuff.
I have ReZero, which that's gonna need its own fucking shelf at some point by the time it ends. But it's ReZero World End. Detective is Already Dead, which has romance in it, so it's topical for right now. Though the anime adaptation for that sucked ass, so that's most unfortunate. Still somehow got a season 2, so it worked.
I'll
I guess.
never forget the car PNG.
the car
is so awful.
It's bad, but like I think the crowd and the idle part, that's easily like some of the worst CGI I've ever seen, or whatever that even was. It was just so bad. It was like big cock tease in like the first episode as well, because they have like such a well animated sequence, and it was just dick the rest of the way. Like, what the fuck?
Put all their budget in the 30
literally
seconds.
The entire budget into that one fight scene, and then they were just done. Hopefully the next season, since it was able to fund one, I suppose, is better and more consistent with the animation, but I doubt it. And then fuck, I have Kubo as my only manga. I need to get more. I want to get the Tonikaku manga, but so many like COVID has just disrupted so many things that I can't get a lot of the stuff that I want to right now. Like, I wanted to read Classroom of the Elite. Now that season 2 is over and people have been not happy with the adaptation, so I want to see what all the hoopla is about. But like the first 4 volumes are out of stock where I get them, and so I don't want to like get scalped.
Yeah, I saw so much stuff out of stock when I went to what's it called? There's like one store in Chicago, and there was like a really big store, right? You could get like almost everything. I think I took pictures from that and posted it in one of our chats. But like, yeah, like I think I was trying to get Spy X Family, and that was like when it was. I think it was like when the first season was airing, and yeah, I just couldn't find anything. It was like there were so many other like manga and like books that I found. It was just like
it went very fast for the first couple volumes.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to like when it's airing. That's definitely the hardest time to get it. That's probably,
of course.
Part of the like I have Mushoku Tensei novels, and so getting those I had to wait a while for that because there is like really bad scalping. Like the only thing you could find was like special edition, like $200 novel. I'm like, no, thank you. And so I have the first 6 of that, and I'll probably buy more eventually. But I need to get on with reading the stuff that I have right now, which is not exactly something I've done. Like I just got the first novel to surpass Bunny Girl Senpai in the anime, though the anime adaptation for the novel I just got announced. So I guess so
it won't be for long.
Another great adaptation by A1.
That was Cloverworks, though, wasn't it?
Was it Cloverworks?
Yeah.
Or was it A1 and Cloverworks together?
Cloverworks. Yeah, just Cloverworks.
Was it all just Cloverworks? Oh man, I hate Cloverworks. I can't believe I just said that.
Cloverworks is like a very hit or miss studio for me. Like it's so.
I'm so embarrassed.
Because I don't know, they do good things, right? But then they also did Promised Neverland season 2.
Fuck with shit sometimes.
They also did Wonder Egg.
Yeah, right, Wonder Egg.
They did Promised Neverland season 1, okay? So we can't.
I mean, they do good things. Like they made Bunny Girl.
Like
they're part of Spy Family. They're doing Bocchi the Rock, which is about to air in 3 days. I'm excited for that. Hopefully they don't fuck that up. But I don't know. They're just very hit or miss. I don't know.
They're like some of the Fate stuff.
I like Shadow. They fucked up Shadow's House apparently. I didn't notice it obviously because I'm not a manga reader. But they fixed it season 2. So
yeah, I've started reading Shadow's House, and I haven't gotten to the point where it feels like they did something that was like angering. But there's definitely stuff to the point that I have read that did not happen in season 1.
I see.
that perhaps should have. Without saying too much, I'm only like 20 chapters in, so basically the second you pick it up, Daniel, you'll know what I'm talking about. But
yeah. Oh, they're also part of the crew for Darling in the Franxx. We all know who that went.
Yep.
But that was also.
But
like,
I blame that more on Trigger.
It was like Trigger, A1, and Cloverworks. I think all working on that.
But like that show feels like it's 95% Trigger.
Yeah, I haven't watched it personally, and I don't think I'm going to after what happened with it. But
at least like the second like act of it feels like
people like
run by
hate the
Trigger.
ending, right? Or like some episode where like everything goes to shit.
There is basically like one episode where like everything onwards, it is just a mess.
That is what I've heard. Yeah. Well,
The ending like kinda reels it back in to give you something somewhat satisfying, but it still is just like it's like the cherry on top of like
yeah, fair enough. It's always disappointing.
this cake you dropped
it was
on the
bad
ground.
after a certain point, you know? Yeah.
It just gets so far removed from like what it started as. Like it's one of those shows where you're watching it and you'll kind of ask yourself at some point like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
How did we get here?
I'm not a big
It's
mecha guy anyway.
disappointing because it starts off promising, and
It does start
like,
off. It
some
starts off
cool
super
things that
promising.
It sets off. It like
It has a
sets up,
cool,
and then it
yeah.
just like fumbles it all.
It has like some actual like unique like world building and like a unique premise, and it has like a pretty decent like romantic subplot going on, and it's just enough to get you on board, and then it just yeah
Then it does. I
Yeah,
feel
like
that's a problem with a lot of originals, I guess, is getting to the end because I don't know.
Wonder Egg.
Wonder Egg. I don't think they knew what they were doing from the.
No.
They just had a lot of ideas and they were like really intriguing. And then you get to like episode 12. I'm like, how is the special gonna do this? And they're like, oh, don't worry, it's 40 minutes. I'm like, all right, bet maybe you can do something in 40 minutes. But then half of that 40 minutes was recap. I'm like, ah, shit, this is not gonna go well.
Yeah, I still have not watched the special. I don't think I'm ever
You
going to.
you don't want to watch. Actually, there's a video called Wonder Egg Priority OVA, but it's only the good parts, and it's just like a 10-second karaoke scene.
That's kind of base.
Oh,
That's
man.
because I watched Wonder Egg with some friends or whatever, and like we're not going to watch the OVA, but we will watch this video afterward. Because I think
I mean,
what Wonder Egg was and how it ended, like normally, it's like you can like leave it alone and just like say it was good, and then pretend the OVA doesn't exist, I suppose. But
that's pretty much what I'm doing. I've actually taken it a step further, and I act like in my head that there's a season 2 announced.
yeah,
It feels like
infinitely
there's a
delayed.
season 2 coming. Like it literally feels like the season 1 of something with how much stuff they introduce in like the last 2 to 3 episodes.
Yeah, I don't think they know what they're doing though, so we're never gonna get that. Because like, yeah, I don't know. They've got no fucking clue. I was scrolling through AniList, but something I wanted to mention earlier was Bokutashi no Remake, which I liked. It's like, it's hard to call it like a complete romance, but it's like a very like important part of it as well. And so I don't know.
Well, it kind of, I mean, it kind of hints, and it hints. It's like very explicit from the beginning, right? I mean, like I shouldn't say explicit. Explicit is the wrong word, but like you can tell there's a connection, right? I didn't watch like the last like 3 or 4 episodes. I don't know why I had like the last 3 or 4 episodes remaining.
I didn't even know you'd watched any of Bokutashi no
Yeah,
Remake.
No, I know. I actually watched a good portion of it, but like, but I mean, it start. Yeah.
Once it gets
Go
towards
ahead.
the end, especially like because it's
Yeah.
it's like I would call it a harem basically for the most part.
Yeah,
But-
yeah, it is. Yeah.
But by the end, it definitely is like, yeah, this is no longer just a romantic subplot type of thing. Because I don't know if you got to like the big twist or whatever near the end of the season. But
Probably not. No.
yeah, if you don't like remember anything from the words big twist, then yeah, you probably
Probably
didn't get
Oh,
to
no.
there. But I can put it in guest chat, I guess, and in spoilers, obviously. But
Of course. This guy. Now he knows. Now he knows what to do with spoilers.
yeah, just don't say it, so I don't have to fucking edit it out.
Don't
If
say it, no,
if that did not happen, then you did not get to where things like really started to ramp up, I suppose. Wait, I need a
Maybe.
second. I need
I
a
don't
second
know.
season of that because
Okay, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
I would like the novels actually because there's a decision made. I've said it before. There's a decision made at the end of season 1 where I'm like, if I need the context behind this because if it was a decision made like without thinking about it, then this is an awful fucking writing decision, but it could just be like a good character moment if I see like what the thought process behind it. But yeah.
I think one of the shows that like this is like really random because I know I'm the only one who's seen it because it's like a really random show and I know it's like not a genre I don't think that a lot of us watch. So like Mobile Suit Gundam 00. I don't know why it's like a really random like mecha show I watched.
I actually know people who
months
like,
ago.
really talk highly of Gundam 00.
There's a
Gundam,
new
no,
Gundam
I like the
just
show.
dropped
the biggest
this
mecha
season as
show
well.
ever.
Yeah. It's not Random
Okay.
Gundam, very big Gundam.
Yeah, I don't know if
No,
I'd
no,
call
no,
it
no, no.
Gundam, just this random show. I don't know if you guys heard of it.
But it's like not like if you were like a big Gundam person, you would like watch it in a specific order or whatever. This was just one specific one I watched because I don't know why I just decided to watch it and it was good. So no regrets or anything. But like the way they handled romance, I felt in that show, it was just like really random because it was like you could tell there was something in between the characters, and then the last like I think there was like 25 episodes. And so like 23 and 24 were like they accelerated the romance from like 1 to like 9 in like half an episode, and I just like hated that. I prefer when there's like I know there's always gonna be like that like cliffhanger-esque lack of progression from episode to episode in like a lot of animes, but I think in that one it was just like really, really handled very poorly, but just because of like the pacing of the romance. That was like something that stuck out in my head that I think they did a really not a very good job of like handling the romance because I felt like in the last 2 or 3 episodes, a lot of the story got abandoned for like the purposes of like accelerating the romance, and it's just like it was just handled very poorly. So that's in my opinion, like an example of like a show that has romance that didn't handle it poorly. Maybe you guys have some other thoughts on like other shows you've seen where they don't handle that aspect poorly, but that was just something that popped in my head.
I want to say yes, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I guess in terms of like endings, something that like really irked me with its romance, especially towards the end, was The Day I Became a God, which I don't know, the ending of that anime was so bad that poor Jin might have got bullied off of Twitter, and then everyone thought he was dead for a while, and then he came back. But the end of that, like they had to like speedrun so much. Anime original, go fucking figure. Fucked up the ending, but the romance in that was, I don't know. I don't want to spoil it, but even though I've done it for a bunch of other things, but
Yeah, why stop now?
but The Day I Became a God, just there was a romantic subplot, and then it kind of like pushed that away for a weirder romantic subplot that I physically could not get behind. And then the ending was just kind of like, I don't know. It took everything and just like made the previous like however many episodes not matter too much. It was a little goofy.
Yeah, I think forcing things, or maybe it just has to do with the setup. I guess like shows with romance that do it well usually do a good job of handling it within like the first,
Actually,
if
what?
it's 12 episode show. Yeah.
I just remembered Charlotte exists. I think Charlotte
I've been
really
avoiding
speedran the fuck
Charlotte.
out of the ending.
Yeah, I've been avoiding Charlotte, but it keeps popping up
Me
whenever
too.
I'm scrolling.
We're the same person.
It's
It's
yeah.
one of the romances of all time.
Oh, it was not
Yeah.
even like a. Charlotte has interesting ideas, but like every other fucking anime original, it doesn't have the time. It can't get things done, and so it like has to. It gets to this point in the ending. It's like, all right, well, we gotta get this done in an episode. So we're just gonna like speed run this like what should be interesting point, and then I don't know. It's just it was something, I suppose. But yeah. We're like an hour 40 in, so if anyone has any final thoughts, I guess get them in now before I close us out.
Almost
A
Neverland
regular
season 2
Magic
still
High
didn't
School is
exist.
the worst thing ever.
All right, everyone talk at once.
Let's go.
How it always goes. How it always goes.
All right, we'll go
Who
in
first?
line.
Now, everybody talk at once or nobody talks.
All
I
right.
think the only two options.
All I have to say is a regular Magic High School is the worst romance anime of all time.
Classic incest moment. All right, Spat.
Yo, but the ending, one of the endings is like legit one of my favorite. Of that show is like legit one of my favorite like anime songs ever.
The song? Yeah,
Only-
yeah. It has some banger songs.
Yeah, it is really.
All the bad anime got the banger songs.
It's just such a cringe,
That's
like
no, that's the conclusion of this episode. Is like we have to like plot this. Like how bad the episode, how bad the anime is versus like how much we like the themes opening and ending. So that's the conclusion.
Yeah, all right. Warii, anything to say?
All right. Well, now I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What is your favorite romance?
My favorite.
Not like show with like, not like just a romance show, but like, what is your favorite romance like in any show outside of Planet? Because I already knew you were gonna say that.
Is the
I was
answer
actually
supposed to be show or characters?
Yeah, between two characters.
Okay,
Like, what is your
yeah.
favorite like ship? Like, what is your favorite romance?
Okay. Yeah, if we go off the ship side of things, I mean, World End is my favorite. It's kind of like the focus of it, and so I want to say it's either that or Sugiyakire. I hold them both in very high regard. My bias wants me to say World End, but Sugiyakire, like, they're both very different like types of romances. So I'll put it like a tie between the two of them, I suppose. Would be my favorites.
Nice.
Which romance couple is your favorite?
And that's kind of what I just said. Like the way they do things
What's
is
the
so
difference?
yeah. The way they do things in the shows is just different.
I guess that's fair. I guess because
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, I could say like, oh, my favorite romance series is Kaguya, for example. But then I could be like, but my favorite like couple in a romance like series in general is be someone. If I said like Shikamori and fucking whatever cardboard food is. Yeah.
Cardboard kun.
I just had to find something I could say. But like I don't know. I feel like that to me could be different, where I could have two like characters that I'm invested in more, even though maybe I don't like the actual series as much as other things.
Yeah, I mean,
I see.
I would say, I don't know. It's tough because I guess like romantic couple like Clannad After Story, yeah, like that's probably best. But outside of that, it's hard. I wouldn't say because Clannad doesn't like hard focus on the romance as much as like.
It does when it needs to.
Yeah,
but,
it does when it
like
needs
I said
to.
earlier,
And
it
so,
focuses on a lot of things.
so I would say like Sugiyakire is a better romance, like
Yeah.
than Clannad After Story would be, but I think Clannad After Story has like the better characters and like developments from the romance. Anyway, yeah, all right. That is the end of this here episode. I think this now breaks the record. This is the longest running episode of, I believe.
I could have kept going for like another 3
It's the
hours.
longest running episode, but you told us at the beginning that is a 20-second episode. It's definitely more than 20 seconds. I had to do it. I had
22nd episode.
How long were you waiting for that?
I
Alrighty.
wanted to say it at the beginning that you guys talked so much, but I had to.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely could have kept this going for like 20 more years. I watched a lot of romance, and I love romance stuff. I'm always going to be a fiend for it. However, we haven't broken 2 hours on the podcast yet, and I don't know if I want to start at 11 p.m. tonight. So, that will be the end of the 22nd episode of the Gochuucast. I would like to thank Warii for coming on here and talking aimlessly for an hour 40 with us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for taking me off the street and asking if you want to join the podcast.
Of
You're
course.
welcome,
But yeah, if you are on the audio only side of things and you'd like to see the visuals, you can come on to YouTube. Is the Order an Anime Podcast? Easy to find. No one else has the name. I'm sure anyway. If you are on YouTube and would like to listen to audio only at any point in time, you can go to our Anchor link down below in the description. You can find all these stuff to like our Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. down on there. Like and subscribe, rate us 5 stars if you liked what we had, and we will see you in another episode Saturday 3 p.m. EST as always.